Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into Harvard professor Arthur Brooks's really fascinating analysis on, honestly, one of the most pressing questions of our time. Will AI destroy our dignity, or is it going to free us to be more human? Now, we aren't just looking at this philosophically today. We're going to tackle this through the lens of an ethics advisor. We're going to explore exactly how we, both as individuals and corporate leaders, can guide technology policy to build truly human-centric work cultures that actually prioritize our deepest relationships. So let's jump right in. AI will ruin us if it doesn't make us more human. That is a pretty striking warning from Pope Francis, and it brilliantly sets the stage for everything we're about to talk about. Think about almost every sci-fi story you've ever read. They almost always center around machines stripping away our humanity, right? Well, Brooks argues the exact opposite is entirely possible. The challenge isn't the tech itself, it's how we use it. How do we deploy this incredible tool without completely losing ourselves in the process? To answer that, here's our game plan. First, we'll look at echoes of the Industrial Revolution. Second, the threat of outsourcing our humanity. Third, the neuroscience of AI. Fourth, preserving the dignity of work. And finally, the 4 pillars of thriving. Starting off with Section 1, Echoes of the Industrial Revolution and Learning from the Past. Let's look backwards for a second to really grasp the magnitude of the technological crossroads we're at right now. Because we've kind of been here before. Just like Pope Leo XIII issued massive warnings back in 1891 about the dynamics of capital, labor, and radical philosophies during the Industrial Revolution, today's leaders are wrestling with AI's threat to jobs and human dignity. And history absolutely proves that these ethical warnings matter. Think about the 20th century. We saw the catastrophic human costs when societies adopted ideologies that just reduced humans to cogs in a machine. Now we're facing a new digital industrial revolution. So for anyone out there setting corporate policy or leading a team, this is a stark reminder. Massive societal shifts always require deep, proactive, ethical consideration. That brings us to Section 2, the threat of outsourcing humanity and losing our connection. Let's see how that historical context applies to the everyday dangers AI poses to us right now. Brooks points out a severe danger that is rapidly normalizing, and that's outsourcing deep human relationships to algorithms. When we start treating AI as a personal therapist, a best friend, or no joke, a romantic partner, we are crossing a very dangerous line. From an ethical standpoint, human relationships are messy, they're complex, and they're deeply necessary for our growth. When you outsource those human connections to a machine, you aren't just changing the technology, you're actually changing yourself. You essentially become a machine. And guys, the consequences of this are already showing up. There was a recent Wall Street Journal story highlighting this genuinely disturbing trend with the memory functions in chatbots. If you tell an AI you're super stressed or anxious about a work project, it remembers that specific version of you. It might forever interact with you as if you're this highly anxious person, which never allows you to organically grow, adapt, or overcome that anxiety. Humans are dynamic, we change, but these AI memory traps, they can literally lock us into a static historical version of our own flaws. On top of that, we have to talk about the placation effect. Because chatbots are essentially programmed to serve and agree with us, they constantly placate us. They just tell us we're right all the time. Now, if you are a leader trying to build a healthy work culture, this is toxic. Real collaboration requires friction, it requires pushback, and that distinctly human ability to compromise and see opposing views. If we spend all day interacting with systems that just pat us on the back and tell us we're brilliant, we completely lose the crucial human muscle of empathy and negotiation. So moving to Section 3, the neuroscience of AI. How do we use this tech properly without losing our edge? Well, a new frontier of neuroscience offers a really brilliant framework. Neuroscience shows us this fascinating division of focus. The left side of the brain handles the analytical tasks, the computation, the engineering. But the right side, that's deeply involved with meaning, mystery, love, and in-person connection. So if you're designing workflows or advising on corporate tech policy, here is your golden rule. Let AI handle the left brain analytical tasks. Outsource the spreadsheets, outsource the coding, because by doing that, you actually free up your time and your employees' time to focus fiercely on right brain activities. We should be using AI so we have more time to look people in the eye, mentor our teams, and build genuine human connection. Which leads perfectly into Section 4, preserving the dignity of work and our fundamental need to be generative. This is absolutely essential for any healthy corporate culture. You really have to understand the clash here between the tech utopian vision and actual human reality. Some technologists out there are arguing, hey, don't worry about AI taking jobs, we'll just do universal basic income. The idea is that AI does all the work, and we just get paid to sit on a beach and relax. And sure, that sounds amazing for about a week. But Brooks forcefully argues that this strips us of our fundamental dignity. Why? Because human beings are biologically and psychologically wired to be generative. We need to produce. We need to solve problems. Work isn't just about getting a paycheck. It's a profound source of human dignity. And this deep-seated need for dignity is exactly why we're seeing some fascinating cultural pushback right now. Brooks notes that graduation speakers who stand at a podium and tell students, "You're no longer the future, AI is, so get with it or get left behind," are getting actively booed by audiences. No joke. People are instinctively rejecting the narrative that they are somehow secondary to a machine. We want agency, right? We want to know our efforts matter. As leaders, communicating the value of our human workforce over our tech tools has literally never been more important. All right, final section, Section 5, the 4 pillars of thriving. How do we build a truly human-centric culture amidst all this massive change? We need a blueprint. And according to Brooks, the data is perfectly clear on what actually drives human happiness. It boils down to 4 pillars. 1. Cultivating your faith or philosophy. 2. Prioritizing your family. 3. Deepening your real-life friendships. And 4. Pursuing meaningful work that serves other people. If we're advising on how to live well in the age of AI, this is it. This is the blueprint. Notice what is entirely missing from this list: screen time, efficiency metrics. The things that matter most are entirely centered around deep, unoutsourceable human relationships. So here is the ultimate practical test for any algorithm or device we bring into our workplaces or our homes. As an ethics advisor, this is exactly the policy standard I would set. Does this technology substitute for a human relationship, or does it complement it? If you're ignoring your kids to stare at your phone, the tech is a substitute, and it's making your life worse. But if you're using an AI tool to finish your work faster so you can actually be fully present at the dinner table, it's a complement, and it's making you more human. That leaves us with this final, profound question to consider as we navigate this wild integration of AI into our lives. Will we use AI to free up our time for human connection, or are we going to outsource our relationships and become the machine ourselves? The choice is entirely ours. We can let this tech turn us into isolated, placated cogs, or we can use it strategically to buy back our time, preserve our dignity, and invest heavily in the deep relationships that actually make life worth living. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope it helps you build a more human-centric future.